Hi everybody, and welcome to I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to a new cruise news for today, Friday, the 4th of January, 2022. Now, I'm just going to do a one news story video, but it's going to be a little bit long, I think, because it's kind of a few news stories squashed together, and it's about Carnival Cruise Line. As you know, if you've watched other cruise news videos, it seems like there's a Carnival news story almost in every update that I provide. And this one's kind of a doozy, or a big event that's going to kind of happen in the next 3 to 6 months. Now, I did previously talk about in another video about the two Australian-based Carnival ships, the Carnival Spirit and Carnival Splendor, not returning to operations in almost 2 years. And it's been announced now that both the Spirit and the Splendor will return to US-based cruising. And both ships are in the current process of, let's call it, restarting operations. They're both currently, one is at anchor and one is docked in Dubai in the Middle East. They're both undergoing sea trials at the moment. Around about 2 weeks ago, I was keeping an eye on Cruise Mapper, and I noticed that the Spirit and the Splendor was doing some sailings in the Gulf there between Dubai and Doha. And I'm like, oh, that seems strange. What's going on? Obviously, Carnival can't keep these ships forever out of service. And coming up in March, it will be effectively 2 years that the ships haven't had passengers on them. And then little did we know, in the last, let's say 6 days or 5 days, Carnival's announced two different news releases about the Spirit and Splendor. Well, originally the Spirit was leaving the fleet in Australian fleet, and now the Splendor's announced as well that both of those ships will come and reposition back to the United States in the short term. They've not really announced anything otherwise, what will happen in the future with them, what's going to happen with Australian sailings. Basically, the Splendor's cruises that were scheduled between June the 10th and September the 26th, 2022 right now this year, they've been cancelled, and Carnival Spirit's itineraries from June the 5th through October 5, 2023 have been cancelled. That pretty much wipes out all sailings for this year of 2022 for both ships. Because there is no certainty about the return to Australian cruising, Carnival Corporation, which owns Carnival Cruise Line and Carnival Cruise Line Australia, they've decided to basically pull the ships from the Australian market effectively and put them to use in America, where they've got ships back sailing right now. Now, it has caused a little bit of a reshuffle of ships, and this is where it gets a little bit more detailed, so I'm going to refer to this screen over here. I've read this through about 100 times, and it's a little bit of a mind boggle, if you like. So the one thing that we do know is Carnival Sensation, which has been paused since back in March 2020. That ship will not return to service. At the moment, Carnival's announced that the Carnival Ecstasy and Carnival Sensation will be leaving the Carnival Cruise Line Fleet in the near future. We now know that Carnival Sensation will not return to passenger operations whatsoever. What we don't know is what's happened to the ships. Have they been sold for scrap, or have they possibly been sold on to another cruise line? That we don't know. So the Carnival Spirit has currently now been scheduled to take over itineraries in Jacksonville, Florida, that we know about. And that's basically starting on March the 7th, which is about a month away, which is not really that long, knowing that the ship has got to come from the Middle East, more than likely through the Suez Canal, and then a transatlantic through Europe back to Florida. So yeah, that's not too far away, but it's going to happen. So in the short term, basically, Carnival Ecstasy, which was in Jacksonville, is going to move around to Mobile, Alabama, and do itineraries out of Mobile. And that's also temporary as well. Effectively, October 10th this year, Carnival won't have a ship in Mobile. So the Ecstasy will reposition and start cruising on the 5th of March through October 10. And then effectively the Ecstasy will do its last sailing on October 10, and then it will leave Carnival Cruise Line Fleet more than likely for Mobile. Either the Elation or the Paradise may come over to that itinerary. For now, Carnival's not announced anything. Also, Carnival Spirit's sort of future plans in Jacksonville haven't sort of been kind of inked in place. They've been penciled in, I guess. So we know that it's going to be there based out of Jacksonville. Now, with Carnival Splendor coming to the US, there's not been any announcement about what its itineraries are. Carnival is just saying that the Spirit and Splendor will return to US operations, which doesn't look good for Australian operations, knowing that both ships aren't even in the region, let alone having any restart dates in Australia. That puts a very big dampener on people's future bookings in Australia, any planned cruises basically this year or next year going forward. Currently, the Australian government isn't allowing any ships to return to Australian waters, even to start domestic cruising, let alone cruises that would go either out to Fiji, New Zealand, maybe internally in Australia down to Tasmania. So it's not good. So yeah, 2 ships leaving Carnival's fleet, Sensation and Ecstasy. We do know that some of their older ships have already been sold for scrap or sold on to other cruise lines. So yeah, slowly Carnival sort of reducing their fleet of the original Fantasy class ships, leaving just the Elation and Paradise currently in service. So yeah, it's going to be sad. I did sail on Sensation. Ecstasy I never worked on, but Sensation I did quite a lot of years ago. Paradise I have also. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a head spinning in terms of the news. You know, 2 ships leaving Australian waters, 2 ships leaving Carnival's fleet. This is kind of big news stories all within a few days of each other. And going back, what should I say, a week or 2 weeks ago when I sort of first saw these ship movements of the Spirit and the Splendor, I kind of thought something was going on, but I wasn't too sure. And it's obviously, this video is kind of, I guess, like a timestamp of what was going to happen. So the ships, pretty much where they're now right off the coast, or one's in port in Dubai, they'll take on provisioning, they'll bring crew members on board, and then they'll start their journey to the US, which probably around about a 2 or 3 week sailing, looking at the restart date for the Spirit in Jacksonville, March 7th. So that's not really too long, but you know, it's more than what we were on about 5 weeks, give or take a day or two. So yeah, a little bit of a longer cruise news, but kind of interesting. It does take a little bit getting my head around it to do this particular video. So I hope you kind of liked it, enjoyed it, maybe didn't enjoy it if you are a Carnival Cruise Line fan. But it was definitely a necessary video to make for the 4th of January, Friday today, the end of the week. I hope everybody liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. You can give it a thumbs down if you really didn't like all these changes. Hopefully thumbs up. Yeah, if you're a subscriber to the channel, thanks for watching a new video. If you are new to the channel and you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel, notification bell for new videos, and I'll see you in another video. Okay, bye everybody. Bye.